Do you want to successfully complete the CompTIA A plus Core 01 exam? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, where thousands of students have found their path to exam success. Our website provides completely free access to over 300 practice questions with detailed explanations and comprehensive study guides covering every exam objective. Everything you need for success on your first attempt for free. In this video, we will cover questions from mobile devices, networking, hardware, virtualization, troubleshooting. So, let's get started. 1. A user has connected their laptop to a projector for a presentation, but no image appears on the projector screen. The laptop's display is working normally. What should be the first troubleshooting step? A. Update the graphics driver on the laptop. B. Check the display output settings on the laptop. C. Replace the projector's bulb. D. Reinstall the operating system. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Check the display output settings on the laptop. Explanation. Option B is correct because the most common and easily fixed issue with projector connections is that the laptop is not set to output display to the external device. Checking and adjusting display output settings, often done with function keys or in display settings, should be the first troubleshooting step. Option A, update the graphics driver on the laptop, is incorrect because while driver issues can cause display problems, it's not the first thing to check when no image appears on a projector. This would be a more time-consuming step to take only after checking basic settings. Option C, replace the projector's bulb, is incorrect because a failed bulb typically shows some signs of image, perhaps dim or discolored, rather than no image at all. Also, this would be a more drastic step to take only after checking connections and settings. Option D, reinstall the operating system, is incorrect because this is an extremely drastic troubleshooting step that should only be considered after many other options have been exhausted. It would be inappropriate as a first step for a projector connection issue. 2. A technician is working with a mobile device that has a broken screen. The touch screen doesn't respond to touch, but the display itself still shows an image. Which component has most likely failed? A. LCD panel. B. Digitizer. C. Battery. D. Motherboard. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Digitizer. Explanation. Option B is correct because the digitizer is the component that recognizes touch input on a mobile device. When it fails, the screen may still display images via the functioning LCD, but won't respond to touch inputs. Exactly the symptoms described in the scenario. Option A, LCD panel, is incorrect because if the LCD panel had failed, the screen would not display any image, but the scenario states that the screen still shows an image. Option C, battery, is incorrect because battery issues typically cause power-related problems, not touch response issues. With a failing battery, the device might shut down unexpectedly or not power on at all. Option D, motherboard, is incorrect because a motherboard failure would likely cause more widespread issues than just touch input problems, such as the device not powering on or frequent crashes. 3. A mobile device repair technician is troubleshooting a tablet with a very dim display. The image is still visible but only when viewed in a dark room or with maximum brightness settings. All touch functionality works correctly. Which component is most likely failing? A. Digitizer. B. LCD panel. C. Backlight or LED driver circuit. D. Wi-Fi antenna connector. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Backlight or LED driver circuit. Explanation. Option C is correct because when a display is very dim, but the image is still visible and touch functions work, the issue is typically with backlight, found in LCD displays or the LED driver circuit that powers it. This component provides the light that illuminates the LCD panel. Option A, digitizer, is incorrect because digitizer issues would affect touch functionality, but the scenario specifically states that touch functionality works correctly. Option B, LCD panel, is incorrect because if the LCD panel itself were failing, you'd typically see other visual artifacts like dead pixels, lines, or distorted images, not just dimness. Option D, Wi-Fi antenna connector, is incorrect because issues with the Wi-Fi antenna would affect wireless connectivity, not display brightness. Four. A company is developing a mobile device for outdoor use that needs to maximize battery life while displaying mostly text and simple graphics. Which display technology would be the most power-efficient choice for this specific use case? A. OLED, B. IPS LCD, C. TN LCD, D. VA LCD. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. TN LCD. Explanation. Option C is correct because TN, twisted pneumatic, LCD displays use less power than other display technologies, making them suitable for maximizing battery life in simple display applications like text and basic graphics. They're the most energy-efficient option listed. Option A, OLED, is incorrect because while OLEDs can be power-efficient with dark content, they actually use more power than LCDs when displaying bright content like text on white backgrounds, which would likely be common in an outdoor work device. Option B, IPS LCD, is incorrect because IPS panels typically consume more power than TN panels due to their more complex pixel structure needed for better viewing angles and color reproduction. Option D, VA LCD, is incorrect because VA panels generally use more power than TN panels to achieve their higher contrast ratios. 5. A technician is troubleshooting a customer's Bluetooth speaker that won't connect to their smartphone. The smartphone's Bluetooth is enabled, and other Bluetooth devices connect successfully. The speaker powers on, but doesn't appear in the phone's Bluetooth device list. What should the technician do? First, A. Replace the Bluetooth antenna in the smartphone. B. Update the operating system on the smartphone. C. Put the speaker in pairing mode by holding down the appropriate button. D. Factory reset the smartphone to clear all Bluetooth settings. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Put the speaker in pairing mode by holding down the appropriate button. Explanation. Option C is correct because the most likely issue is that the speaker isn't in pairing/discovery mode. Most Bluetooth accessories need to be specifically put into pairing mode, typically by holding down a button until an indicator light flashes, before they'll appear in the phone's available device list. This is the simplest and most common solution to try first. Option A, replace the Bluetooth antenna in the smartphone, is incorrect because the fact that other Bluetooth devices connect successfully indicates the phone's Bluetooth hardware is functioning properly. Option B, update the operating system on the smartphone, is incorrect because while updates can sometimes fix Bluetooth issues, it's not the first step to try given the specific symptoms, and the phone connects to other Bluetooth devices without issue. Option D, factory reset the smartphone to clear all Bluetooth settings, is incorrect because this is a drastic troubleshooting step that should only be considered after trying simpler solutions. A factory reset would unnecessarily erase all data and settings on the phone. 6. A student wants to use their tablet for taking handwritten notes in class, but is on a limited budget. They need a solution that works on any capacitive touchscreen. Which of the following would be the most cost-effective option that meets their requirements? A. Active stylus with pressure. Sensitivity. B. Drawing pad with USB connection. C. Basic passive capacitive stylus. D. Bluetooth keyboard with trackpad. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Basic passive capacitive stylus. Explanation. Option C is correct because a basic passive capacitive stylus is the most cost-effective option that would work with any tablet that has a capacitive touchscreen. While it won't offer advanced features like pressure sensitivity, it will allow for basic handwritten note-taking at a low price point. Option A, active stylus with pressure sensitivity, is incorrect because active styluses are typically more expensive and often device-specific, making them less suitable for a student on a limited budget. Option B, drawing pad with USB connection, is incorrect because this would be a separate device that may not be compatible with the tablet and would be more expensive than a simple stylus. Option D, Bluetooth keyboard with trackpad, is incorrect because while this might be useful for typing notes, it doesn't address the requirement for handwritten note-taking. 7. A user wants to share their cellular data connection with their laptop during a business trip where no public Wi-Fi is available. Which of the following methods would use the least amount of smartphone battery power while providing this connectivity? A. Wi-Fi hotspot. B. Bluetooth tethering. C. USB tethering. D. NFC connection. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. USB tethering. Explanation. Option C is correct because USB tethering not only uses less battery power than wireless tethering methods, but the USB connection actually charges the smartphone while it's being used as a modem. This makes it the most power-efficient method for sharing a cellular data connection. Option A, Wi-Fi hotspot, is incorrect because broadcasting a Wi-Fi signal consumes significant battery power, making it one of the most battery-intensive tethering methods. Option B, Bluetooth tethering, is incorrect because while Bluetooth uses less power than Wi-Fi, it still consumes more battery than a direct USB connection and typically provides slower data speeds. Option D, NFC connection, is incorrect because NFC is not designed for continuous data tethering. It's primarily used for momentary data exchange or pairing initiation, not ongoing internet connection sharing. 8. A corporate employee is setting up their personal smartphone to access company resources. The IT department requires that corporate data be separated from personal data and that they can remotely wipe corporate data without affecting personal information. Which of the following solutions best addresses these requirements? A. Mobile device management, MDM, with full device control. B. Mobile application management, MAM, with work profile. C. Enabling storage encryption on the device. D. Installing a corporate VPN application. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Mobile application management, MAM, with work profile. Explanation. Option B is correct because mobile application management, MAM, with a work profile creates a separate container for corporate applications and data, keeping them isolated from personal data. This allows IT to remotely manage and wipe only the work-related content without affecting personal information, which directly addresses the requirements in the scenario. Option A, Mobile Device Management, MDM, with full device control, is incorrect because traditional MDM manages the entire device, which would give IT the ability to wipe all data, including personal content. This doesn't meet the requirement of separating corporate and personal data. Option C, Enabling storage encryption on the device, is incorrect because while encryption protects data on the device, it doesn't create separation between corporate and personal data or provide the ability to selectively wipe only corporate information. Option D, Installing a corporate VPN application, is incorrect because a VPN application only provides secure network connectivity to corporate resources. It doesn't create data separation or provide remote wipe capabilities for corporate data. 9. A system administrator needs to set up a connection to remotely manage a Linux server from a Windows workstation. Security is a priority, and the administrator needs to access the command line interface of the Linux server. Which protocol and port should be used? A. Telnet on port 23. B. RDP on port 3389. C. SSH on port 22. D. HTTP on port 80. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. SSH on port 22. Explanation. Option C is correct because SSH on port 22 provides encrypted, secure command line access to remote systems, making it ideal for securely managing Linux servers. SSH was specifically designed as a secure replacement for older protocols, like Telnet. Option A, Telnet on port 23, is incorrect because Telnet transmits all data, including passwords, in plain text without encryption, making it fundamentally insecure and unsuitable when security is a priority. Option B, RDP on port 3389, is incorrect because while RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, provides secure connections, it's primarily designed for Windows systems and provides a graphical interface rather than command line access. While there are RDP servers available for Linux, SSH is the standard protocol for Linux server management. Option D, HTTP on port 80, is incorrect because HTTP is a web protocol for accessing websites, not for remote system management. It also lacks the security features needed, as standard HTTP is unencrypted. 10. A network engineer is setting up a new web application that needs to handle thousands of quick status updates with minimal latency. The application doesn't require guaranteed delivery, as occasional missed updates won't affect functionality. Which transportation protocol would be most appropriate for this application? A. TCP. B. UDP. C. HTTPS. D. SFTP. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. UDP. Explanation. Option B is correct because UDP, User Datagram Protocol, is designed for speed and efficiency with minimal overhead. It's connectionless and doesn't verify delivery, making it ideal for applications where speed is more important than guaranteed delivery, such as the scenario described where occasional missed updates are acceptable. Option A, TCP, is incorrect because while TCP provides reliable delivery by establishing connections and confirming receipt of data, this adds overhead and latency that isn't necessary given the requirements specified. TCP would ensure all updates are delivered, but would be slower than UDP. Option C, HTTPS, is incorrect because HTTPS is not a transport protocol, but an application protocol that uses TCP as its transport. It also adds encryption overhead that would further increase latency. Option D, SFTP, is incorrect because SFTP is a file transfer protocol built on SSH, not a transport protocol. It's designed for secure file transfers, not for handling high-volume status updates. 11. A network technician is troubleshooting an issue where a user's computer can physically connect to the network. Link lights are on, but cannot communicate with any other devices. The technician has verified that the cable, switch port, and network settings are all functioning correctly. Which component is most likely causing the issue? A. Network interface card. B. Router. C. Access point. D. Patch panel. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Network interface card. Explanation. Option A is correct because the network interface card, NIC, is the component that handles the actual communication between the computer and the network. If the physical connection is working, as indicated by the link lights being on, but no communication is possible, this suggests the NIC might be partially failed or have a driver issue preventing proper data transmission despite having a physical connection. Option B, router, is incorrect because if the router was failing, the computer would still be able to communicate with other devices on the same local network segment. The scenario describes a complete inability to communicate with any devices. Option C, or access point, is incorrect because the scenario describes a wired connection issue. Link lights are on, not a wireless connectivity problem that would involve an access point. Option D, patch panel, is incorrect because patch panels are passive devices that simply provide connection points. If the link lights are on, the physical connection through the patch panel is working. A patch panel cannot cause a situation where physical connectivity works, but communication fails. 12. A small business wants to implement basic protection against internet-based threats while allowing employees to access necessary online resources. Which of the following devices should be installed between their router and internal network? A. Hub. B. Switch. C. Firewall. D. Patch panel. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Firewall. Explanation. Option C is correct because a firewall is specifically designed to monitor and control network traffic based on predetermined security rules. It creates a barrier between the trusted internal network and the untrusted internet, blocking unauthorized access while permitting legitimate communications. Option A, hub, is incorrect because hubs are simple connection devices that broadcast data to all connected ports without any security capabilities. They cannot filter traffic or provide protection against threats. Option B, or switch, is incorrect because switches focus on efficiently directing traffic within a network based on MAC addresses. While more sophisticated than hubs, standard switches do not provide traffic filtering or security features needed to protect against internet-based threats. Option D, patch panel, is incorrect because patch panels are passive devices used for organizing cable connections. They have no active components and cannot perform any security functions. (13) A retail store wants to implement a technology that allows customers to pay by tapping their smartphones to a payment terminal. Which of the following wireless technologies is most appropriate for this application? A. Bluetooth. B. RFID. C. NFC. D. Wi-Fi Direct. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C. NFC. Explanation. Option C is correct because NFC, near-field communication, is specifically designed for secure, very short-range communication, typically 4 centimeters or less. and is the standard technology used in contactless payment systems like Apple Pay and Google Pay. Its extremely short range is actually a security feature, making it difficult to intercept the communication. Option A, Bluetooth, is incorrect because Bluetooth has a much longer range, typically 10-100 meters, than needed for secure payment transactions, which could pose security risks. It also requires pairing devices before use, making it less convenient for quick payment transactions. Option B, RFID, is incorrect because while RFID is related to NFC and could technically be used for payments, standard RFID lacks the secure two-way communication capabilities of NFC that are essential for modern contactless payment systems. Option D, Wi-Fi Direct, is incorrect because Wi-Fi Direct is designed for device-to-device file transfers and connections over relatively long distances, similar to standard Wi-Fi. Its range and setup requirements make it unsuitable for tap-to-pay transactions. 14. A warehouse manager needs to implement a system to track inventory as it moves throughout the facility. The solution should not require line-of-sight scanning and should be able to identify multiple items simultaneously. Which wireless technology would best meet these requirements? A, Bluetooth. B, RFID. C, NFC. D, QR codes with Wi-Fi. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B, RFID. Explanation. Option B is correct because RFID, radio frequency identification, is specifically designed for inventory tracking and can scan multiple tags simultaneously without requiring line of sight. RFID readers can detect tags through packaging and from several meters away, making it ideal for warehouse inventory management. Option A, Bluetooth, is incorrect because Bluetooth is primarily a communication protocol between active devices, not an identification technology. It would require powered devices attached to each inventory item, making it impractical and expensive for inventory tracking. Option C, NFC, is incorrect because while NFC is related to RFID, it has an extremely limited range, typically 4 centimeters or less, and generally can only read one tag at a time, making it inefficient for tracking inventory moving throughout a warehouse. Option D, QR codes with Wi-Fi, is incorrect because QR codes require line-of-sight scanning, which was specified as a requirement to avoid. Additionally, scanning multiple QR codes simultaneously would be challenging or impossible with standard equipment. (15) A manufacturing company needs to implement a system to monitor and control equipment across multiple facilities, including temperature sensors, conveyor belts, and automated machinery. Which of the following would be the most appropriate technology for this purpose? A, IoT devices. B, SCADA system. C, proxy server. D, mail server. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B, SCADA system. Explanation. Option B is correct because SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition systems, are specifically designed for industrial control and monitoring of equipment and processes in facilities like manufacturing plants. SCADA systems can monitor sensors, control equipment remotely, collect operational data, and alert operators to issues, all requirements for the scenario described. Option A, IoT devices, is incorrect, because while Internet of Things devices could be part of the solution as individual sensors or controllers, they don't provide the comprehensive industrial control and monitoring framework that SCADA does. IoT is too generic for this industrial application. Option C, proxy server, is incorrect because a proxy server acts as an intermediary for network requests and has nothing to do with industrial control or equipment monitoring. Option D, and a mail server is incorrect because a mail server handles email transmission, reception, and storage, which is unrelated to monitoring and controlling industrial equipment. (16) A network technician is configuring a system that will filter incoming emails for a company to block spam, phishing attempts, and email-based malware before they reach the company's mail server. Which of the following network appliances should the technician implement? A. Load balancer. B. Spam gateway. C. Proxy server. D. Web server. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Spam gateway. Explanation: Option B is correct because a spam gateway, also called an email security gateway, is specifically designed to filter incoming emails for unwanted content, like spam, phishing attempts, and malware before they reach the internal mail server. This protects users from harmful content and reduces wasted time dealing with junk email. Option A. Load balancer is incorrect because a load balancer distributes network traffic across multiple servers to optimize resource use and prevent overloading. It doesn't perform email filtering functions. Option C. Proxy server is incorrect because while a proxy server can provide some content filtering, it typically focuses on web traffic rather than email. A proxy server acts as an intermediary for requests from clients seeking resources from other servers. Option D. Web server is incorrect because a web server hosts websites and web applications and doesn't provide email filtering capabilities. 17. A network technician is configuring a newly installed wireless router for a small business. The business wants to ensure that employee devices receive consistent IP addresses, while guest devices should receive temporary addresses from a different range. Which of the following configurations would best accomplish this? A. Configure all employee devices with static IP addresses and disable DHCP on the router. B. Set up 2 wireless networks with different DHCP scopes for each. C. Configure the router to assign addresses based on MAC address filtering. D. Set up a single DHCP scope with a long lease time for all devices. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Set up 2 wireless networks with different DHCP scopes for each. Explanation: Option B is correct because setting up 2 wireless networks, SSIDs, with different DHCP scopes allows for complete separation between employee and guest devices. The employee network could have a DHCP scope with reservations to ensure consistent IP addresses, while the guest network could have a separate DHCP scope with tuned lease times for temporary addresses. This provides both the consistency for employees and the temporary nature for guests that the business requires. Option A. Configure all employee devices with static IP addresses and disable DHCP on the router is incorrect because disabling DHCP would make it difficult to connect guest devices, which need an automated way to receive IP addresses. Additionally, configuring static IPs on all employee devices is time-consuming and harder to manage than using DHCP reservations. Option C. Configure the router to assign addresses based on MAC address filtering is incorrect because MAC filtering is primarily a security measure to control which devices can connect to the network, not a method to assign different types of IP addresses. MAC filtering alone wouldn't create different address ranges for employees versus guests. Option D. Set up a single DHCP scope with a long lease time for all devices is incorrect because a single DHCP scope wouldn't differentiate between employee and guest devices. All devices would receive addresses from the same range, and a long lease time would mean guest devices would hold onto their assigned IPs longer than necessary, potentially exhausting the available address pool. (18) A user in an office building experiences intermittent wireless connectivity with their laptop, but only in certain areas of the building. A Wi-Fi analyzer app shows good signal strength, but high channel utilization. What is the most likely solution to this problem? A. Replace the wireless router. B. Change the Wi-Fi channel on the access point. C. Update the laptop's wireless drivers. D. Install a Wi-Fi range extender. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Change the Wi-Fi channel on the access point. Explanation. Option B is correct because high channel utilization, despite good signal strength, indicates wireless interference or congestion on the current channel. Changing to a less congested channel would allow the device to communicate more reliably without the access point, even in areas where interference is highest. Option A, replace the wireless router, is incorrect because replacing the router wouldn't address channel congestion issues, particularly if the signal strength is already good. Option C, update the laptop's wireless drivers, is incorrect because, while updating drivers is generally good practice, the issue appears to be environmental, location-dependent, and related to channel congestion rather than driver capability. Option D, install a Wi-Fi range extender, is incorrect because a range extender addresses signal strength problems, but the scenario specifically mentions that signal strength is good. The issue is channel utilization, congestion, not signal coverage. (19) A system administrator needs to create a DNS record to support the company's new IPv6 infrastructure. Which record type should be used to map a host name to an IPv6 address? A. A record. B. PTR record. C. CNAME record. D. AA record. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, D. AA record. Explanation. Option D is correct because ABLSA, Quad A, records are specifically designed to map a host name to an IPv6 address. Just as a records map host names to IPv4 addresses, AA records provide the same function for the longer, hexadecimal IPv6 addresses. Option A, a record, is incorrect because a records map identifies host names to IPv4 addresses only. They cannot contain IPv6 addresses, which use a different format, hexadecimal with colons instead of decimal with periods. Option B, PTR record, is incorrect because PTR records are used for reverse DNS lookups, mapping IP addresses to host names, rather than forward lookups, host name to IP. While PTR records exist for both IPv4 and IPv6, they don't map host names to IPv6 addresses. Option C, CNAME record, is incorrect because CNAMEs records create an alias from one domain name to another domain name, not directly to an IP address. While they can point to a host name that has enabled a relay record, they don't themselves map directly to IPv6 addresses. 20. A company allows employees to work from home and needs to provide secure access to internal company resources over the Internet. Which technology should they implement? A. DHCP. B. VLAN. C. VPN. D. DNS. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. VPN. Explanation. Option C is correct because a VPN, virtual private network, creates a secure, encrypted connection over the public Internet, allowing remote employees to safely access internal company resources as if they were directly connected to the company network. VPNs are specifically designed for secure remote access. Option A, DHCP, is incorrect because DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, automates IP address assignment on a network, but doesn't provide secure remote access over the Internet. Option B, VLAN, is incorrect because VLANs, virtual local area networks, create logical network separation within a physical network, but operate at the local network level. They don't provide remote access capabilities over the Internet. Option D, DNS, is incorrect because DNS, Domain Name System, translates domain names to IP addresses, but doesn't provide secure connectivity or access controls for remote workers. 21. A rural hospital needs to implement a dedicated high-speed network for storing and accessing medical imaging files like X-rays and MRIs. The solution must provide block-level access and appear to servers as locally attached storage. Which network type would best meet these requirements? A. WLAN, B. WAN, C. LAN, D. SAN. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. SAN. Explanation. Option D is correct because a storage area network, GA SAN, is specifically designed for high-speed access to consolidated block-level storage. CANs provide high performance for data-intensive applications, like medical imaging, appear to servers as locally attached storage, and enable centralized storage management. This makes them ideal for storing and quickly accessing large medical files like X-rays and MRIs. Option A, WLAN, is incorrect because a wireless local area network is simply a wireless implementation of a standard network. While it provides connectivity, it isn't specialized for high-performance storage access and doesn't provide the block-level storage capabilities required for the scenario. Option B, WAN, is incorrect because a wide area network connects geographically distant locations. The scenario focuses on storage within a single hospital, not connecting to distant locations, and a WAN doesn't provide the specialized storage functionality needed. Option C, LAN, is incorrect because while a local area network would connect the hospital's computers, it doesn't specifically address the specialized high-speed storage requirements for medical imaging. A LAN is a general-purpose network, not optimized for block-level storage access. 22. A user who frequently travels for business needs internet access during trips to rural areas with poor cellular coverage. They need a solution that works almost anywhere without relying on local infrastructure. Which internet connection type would be most appropriate? A. DSL, B. Cable, C. Satellite, D. WISP. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Satellite. Explanation. Option C is correct because satellite internet is available virtually anywhere with a clear view of the sky, requiring no local ground infrastructure. For a traveling business user who needs coverage in rural areas with poor cellular service, satellite would be the most reliable option because it works independently of local terrestrial infrastructure. Option A, DSL, is incorrect because DSL requires a physical connection to telephone infrastructure and is location-specific. A traveling user couldn't take their DSL connection with them, and rural areas often have limited DSL availability. Option B, cable, is incorrect because cable internet requires coaxial cable infrastructure, which is location-specific and often unavailable in rural areas. A traveling user couldn't take their cable connection with them. Option D, WISP, is incorrect because while fixed wireless from WISPs can serve rural areas, it requires being within range of the provider's transmitters and typically serves fixed locations, not traveling users. Coverage varies greatly by region, making it unreliable for a frequent traveler. 23. A security analyst needs to monitor network traffic between a server and a switch to identify potential security threats without alerting users or interrupting the network connection. Which networking tool would be most appropriate for this task? A. Cable tester. B. Network tap. C. Loopback plug. D. Toner probe. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Network tap. Explanation. Option B is correct because a network tap is designed to create a copy of network traffic without interrupting the flow, allowing for passive monitoring. It's the ideal tool for security monitoring as it works invisibly, doesn't alert users, and captures full duplex traffic in both directions. Option A, cable tester, is incorrect because a cable tester only verifies the physical wiring of a cable. It cannot capture or analyze actual network traffic or data packets. Option C, loopback plug, is incorrect because a loopback plug tests the functionality of a single network port by routing its outgoing signals back as incoming signals. It doesn't capture traffic between devices and would interrupt the connection if installed. Option D, toner probe, is incorrect because a toner probe is used to identify and trace cables. It has no capability to capture or analyze network traffic. 24. A technician needs to prepare a spool of Cat6 cable before attaching an RJ45 connector. Which tool should be used first in this process? A. Crimper. B. Cable stripper. C. Punch-down tool. D. Cable tester. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Cable stripper. Explanation. Option B is correct because a cable stripper is the tool used in the first step of cable preparation to remove the outer jacket of the network cable, exposing the internal wires so they can be arranged correctly before connector attachment. Option A, crimper, is incorrect because a crimper is used after the cable has been stripped and the wires arranged to attach the RJ45 connector to the prepared cable end. Option C, punch-down tool, is incorrect because a punch-down tool is used for terminating cables to fixed infrastructure like patch panels and wall jacks, not for preparing cables for connector attachment. Option D, cable tester, is incorrect because a cable tester is used after the cable has been fully terminated to verify proper connectivity. It's the last step in the process, not the first. 25. A technician needs to connect a server to a storage array in a data center where the devices will be placed 200 meters apart. The connection must be immune to electromagnetic interference from nearby electrical equipment. Which cable type would be most appropriate for this scenario? A. Cat6, ASTP, B. Fiber optic, C. Coaxial, D. Cat8, UTP. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Fiber optic. Explanation. Option B is correct because fiber optic cable is the only option listed that can reliably span 200 meters while being completely immune to electromagnetic interference. Fiber uses light signals rather than electrical signals, making it impervious to EMI and suitable for long-distance connections. Option A, Cat6 ASTP, is incorrect because Cat6A has a maximum recommended distance of 100 meters for 10 Gbps connections, which is less than the 200 meters required. Even with shielding, it would still be susceptible to some level of electromagnetic interference over such a long run. Option C, coaxial, is incorrect because modern coaxial network implementations are not designed for 200-meter runs in data center environments and would not provide the speed and reliability needed for server-to-storage communication. Option D, Cat8 UTP is incorrect, because even Cat8, while supporting higher speeds, is limited to 30 meters for its highest performance specifications. Additionally, unshielded twisted pair would be vulnerable to the EMI mentioned in the scenario. 26. A technician is troubleshooting a desktop computer that cannot detect its internal hard drive. After checking BIOS settings, the technician suspects a cabling issue. The drive is a newer SSD. Which of the following connectors should the technician check is securely connected to both the drive and motherboard? A. ID, B. SCSI, C. SATA, D. eSATA. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. SATA. Explanation. Option C is correct because SATA, serial ATA, is the standard interface used for connecting internal storage devices in modern computers, including SSDs. The technician should check that both the SATA data cable, connecting the drive to the motherboard, and the SATA power connector, from the power supply, are securely connected. Option A, IDE, is incorrect because IDE, also called PATA, is an older interface that has been largely replaced by SATA in modern systems. Since the scenario mentions a newer SSD, it would almost certainly use SATA rather than the legacy IDE interface. Option B, SCSI, is incorrect because SCSI is primarily used in enterprise server environments and specialized equipment, not typically in standard desktop computers, especially for newer SSDs. Option D, eSATA, is incorrect because eSATA is designed for external device connections, not for internal drives. The E in eSATA stands for external. After installing new RAM in a desktop computer, the system fails to boot and emits a series of beeps. The technician removes and reinserts the memory modules, but the problem persists. What is the most likely cause of this issue? A. The BIOS needs to be updated to support the new RAM. B. The RAM modules are not properly seated in the slots. C. The RAM is incompatible with the motherboard. D. The power supply cannot provide enough power for the additional RAM. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. The RAM is incompatible with the motherboard. Explanation. Option C is correct because when RAM is incompatible with the motherboard, wrong type, unsupported speed, or not on the compatibility list, the system often fails to boot and generates error beeps. The fact that the problem persists after reseating the modules suggests it's not a simple installation issue, but rather a fundamental compatibility problem. Option A, the BIOS needs to be updated to support the new RAM, is incorrect because while BIOS updates can sometimes improve memory compatibility, the more likely cause of a complete failure to boot with error beeps is fundamental incompatibility rather than a missing BIOS update. Option B, the RAM modules are not properly seated in the slots, is incorrect because the scenario states the technician has already removed and reinserted the memory modules, which would have addressed any seating issues. Option D, the power supply cannot provide enough power for the additional RAM, is incorrect because while inadequate power can cause system instability, it typically allows the system to at least begin booting rather than preventing boot entirely with error beeps. Memory draws relatively little power compared to components like CPUs and GPUs. A technician is installing RAM in a laptop that has two memory slots. One slot contains an 8 GB DDR4 SODIMM module, and the other slot is empty. The technician wants to maximize the performance benefit of adding another 8 GB module. Which configuration will provide the best performance improvement? A. Install an 8 GB module, identical to the existing one. B. Install a 16 GB module for maximum capacity. C. Install an 8 GB module with higher clock speed than the existing one. D. Remove the existing 8 GB module and install two 16 GB modules. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. Install an 8 GB module identical to the existing one. Explanation. Option A is correct because installing an identical 8 GB module will enable dual-channel operation, which can nearly double memory bandwidth compared to single-channel. Matching modules, same size, tier speed, and preferably same model, is the key requirement for dual-channel operation, which provides the best performance improvement in this scenario. Option B. Install a 16 GB module for maximum capacity is incorrect because while this would provide more total memory, 24 GB, it would force the system to operate in single-channel mode due to the mismatched module sizes, resulting in lower memory bandwidth than matched modules would provide. Option C. Install an 8 GB module with higher clock speed than the existing one is incorrect because mixing modules with different speeds typically causes all memory to run at the speed of the slower module. Additionally, the performance benefit of dual-channel operation with matched modules would exceed the benefit of a slightly faster single-channel configuration. Option D. Remove the existing 8 GB module and install two 16 GB modules is incorrect because, while this would provide maximum capacity and dual-channel operation, it exceeds the scope of the scenario, adding another module to the empty slot, and would unnecessarily increase cost by replacing a perfectly good existing module. (29) A dot matrix printer is printing characters with the top portions missing or incomplete. What is the most likely cause of this issue? A. The ribbon is old and dried out. B. The printhead has damaged pins. C. The printer is in draft mode. D. The paper is misaligned in the feeder. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. The printhead has damaged pins. Explanation. Option B is correct because in a dot matrix printer, each character is formed by pins in the printhead striking the ribbon. When specific pins are damaged or stuck, particularly the ones that form the top of characters, those portions of characters will be consistently missing from all printouts. Option A, the ribbon is old and dried out, is incorrect because an old ribbon would cause overall light printing, not missing specific portions of every character. Option C, the printer is in draft mode, is incorrect because draft mode would cause lower resolution or lighter printing overall, not specifically missing top portions of characters. Option D, the paper is misaligned in the feeder, is incorrect because paper misalignment would cause the entire print to be mispositioned, not consistently missing parts of each character. (30) A technician needs to install a new hard drive in a laptop that has limited internal space. The laptop has an available 2.5 bay for storage. Which of the following drive types would physically fit in this bay? A. 3.5 HDD, B. 2.5 SSD, C. M. 2 NVMe SSD without an adapter, D. 5.25 optical drive. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. 2.5 SSD. Explanation. Option B is correct because 2.5 SSDs are specifically designed to fit in 2.5 drive bays, which are the standard size for laptop internal storage. A 2.5 SSD would be a direct physical fit for the available bay in the laptop. Option A, 3.5 HDD, is incorrect because 3.5 hard drives are physically larger than 2.5 drive bays and will not fit in a laptop's 2.5 bay. These larger drives are typically used in desktop computers where more space is available. Option C, M2 NVMe SSD without an adapter, is incorrect because M2 drives have a completely different form factor, a small circuit board that does not fit into a 2.5 drive bay without a special adapter. M2 drives require a specific M2 slot on the motherboard. Option D, 5.25 optical drive, is incorrect because 5.25 optical drives are much larger than 2.5 drive bays and are typically used in desktop computers for CD/DVD/Blu-ray drives. They are too large to fit in any laptop drive bay. Struggling with your IT certification exams? We've all been there. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, your ultimate resource for IT exam success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 plus active students and the impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit MyITCerts.com today and take first step towards guaranteed success. 31. A user's laptop performance suddenly decreases during gaming, and the system occasionally shuts down unexpectedly. When troubleshooting, you notice the laptop gets extremely hot to the touch just before shutting down. What is the most likely cause of this issue? A. Software virus infection. B. Failing hard drive. C. Inadequate cooling. D. Incompatible graphics drivers. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, C. Inadequate cooling. Explanation. Option C is correct because extreme heat followed by shutdown is a classic symptom of thermal throttling and overheating due to inadequate cooling. When the CPU gets too hot, it will first reduce performance and then shut down to prevent damage. Option A, software virus infection, is incorrect because while viruses can cause performance issues, they typically don't cause overheating or thermal shutdowns. Option B, failing hard drive, is incorrect because a failing hard drive would cause different symptoms like data corruption, slow file access, or system crashes, not heat-related shutdowns. Option D, incompatible graphics drivers, is incorrect because while incompatible graphics drivers might cause graphical glitches or crashes, they wouldn't directly cause the extreme heat that precedes shutdown in this scenario. 32. A customer wants to improve their computer's multitasking performance for video editing and programming. Their current system has a quad-core CPU without multi-threading. Which of these CPU features would provide the most significant improvement for their multitasking needs? A. Higher clock speed with the same core count. B. ARM architecture instead of x64. C. Larger CPU cache memory. D. A CPU with the same core count but with multi-threading support. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. A CPU with the same core count, but with multi-threading support. Explanation. Option D is correct because multi-threading, like Intel's hyper-threading or AMD's SMT, allows each physical core to handle 2 threads simultaneously, effectively doubling the number of tasks the CPU can process at once. This directly improves multitasking performance for applications like video editing that can use multiple threads. Option A, higher clock speed with the same core count, is incorrect because while higher clock speed improves single-threaded performance, it doesn't help as much with multitasking as having more threads available. Option B, ARM architecture instead of x64, is incorrect because changing from x64 to ARM architecture would require different software versions and wouldn't necessarily improve multitasking performance. Option C, larger CPU cache memory, is incorrect because while larger cache memory improves performance, it doesn't directly enable better multitasking to the same degree as having more CPU threads available. (33) A technician notices that a customer's new CPU and GPU are drawing more power than expected. The system has been configured with the right wattage power supply, but the technician is worried about future upgrades. Which of the following would be the best practice when selecting a power supply? A. Choose a power supply that exactly matches the current power requirements. B. Select a power supply with 20 to 30% more capacity than currently needed. C. Install 2 power supplies to share the load between components. D. Use a power supply with the highest possible wattage available. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. Select a power supply with 20 to 30% more capacity than currently needed. Explanation: Option B is correct because including a 20 to 30% buffer above current power requirements allows for peak usage situations, component aging, and future upgrades without over-provisioning or wasting money. Option A, choose a power supply that exactly matches the current power requirements, is incorrect because matching exact current requirements leaves no room for peak power draws or future upgrades. Option C, install 2 power supplies to share the load between components, is incorrect because consumer systems aren't designed to use 2 power supplies simultaneously. Option D, use a power supply with the highest possible wattage available, is incorrect because the highest possible wattage would be unnecessary, more expensive, and might operate less efficiently at the normal load level. 34. A technician is building a PC and needs to determine which components are powered by the 12V rails from the power supply. Which of the following primarily uses 12V power? A. RAM modules and motherboard chipset. B. SATA, SSDs and USB ports. C. CPU, GPU and cooling fans. D. BIOS chip and front panel LEDs. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: C. CPU, GPU, and cooling fans. Explanation: Option C is correct because the CPU, GPU, and cooling fans are the primary components that use 12V power in a computer system. These are typically the highest power-consuming components. Option A, RAM modules and motherboard chipset, is incorrect because RAM modules and chipsets primarily use 3.3V power. Option B, SATA, SSDs and USB ports, is incorrect because SATA SSDs use both 5V and 12V, but primarily 5V and USB ports use 5V. Option D, BIOS chip and front panel LEDs, is incorrect because the BIOS chip uses 3.3V and front panel LEDs typically use 5V or 3.3V. 34. A technician is building a PC and needs to determine which components are powered by the 12V rails from the power supply. Which of the following primarily uses 12V power? A. RAM modules and motherboard chipset. B. SATA, SSDs and USB ports. C. CPU, GPU and cooling fans. D. BIOS chip and front panel LEDs. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: C. CPU, GPU, and cooling fans. Explanation: Option C is correct because the CPU, GPU, and cooling fans are the primary components that use 12V power in a computer system. These are typically the highest power-consuming components. Option A, RAM modules and motherboard chipset, is incorrect because RAM modules and chipsets primarily use 3.3V power. Option B, SATA SSDs and USB ports, is incorrect because SATA SSDs use both 5V and 12V, but primarily 5V and USB ports use 5V. Option D, BIOS chip and front panel LEDs, is incorrect because the BIOS chip uses 3.3V and front panel LEDs typically use 5V or 3.3V. 36. A technician is troubleshooting a wireless printer that was working correctly yesterday but now computers cannot connect to it. The printer powers on normally, and its display shows it's connected to the Wi-Fi network. What should the technician check first? A. Reinstall the printer drivers on all computers. B. Verify the printer's IP address hasn't changed. C. Update the printer's firmware. D. Reset the printer to factory defaults. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Verify the printer's IP address hasn't changed. Explanation. Option B is correct, because if the printer is still connected to the Wi-Fi network, but computers can't find it, a common cause is that the printer's IP address has changed, especially if using DHCP. Verifying the IP address is a quick first check that doesn't disrupt current settings. Option A, reinstall the printer drivers on all computers, is incorrect because reinstalling drivers would be unnecessary if the issue is network connectivity, and would be time-consuming to do on all computers. Option C, update the printer's firmware, is incorrect because while firmware updates can fix bugs, they're not the first thing to check for a printer that suddenly stopped working, and updates can be time-consuming. Option D, reset the printer to factory defaults, is incorrect because resetting to factory defaults should be a last resort as it removes all customized settings and configurations. 37. A technician is performing maintenance on a heavily used laser printer. The printer has been reporting that it has reached its maintenance count and has begun showing signs of paper jams when feeding from the main tray. Which of the following should the technician replace? A. Imaging drum and transfer roller. B. Maintenance kit with pickup rollers and separation pad. C. All toner cartridges. D. Fuser assembly only. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Maintenance kit with pickup rollers and separation pad. Explanation. Option B is correct because paper feed issues from the main tray combined with the maintenance count. Warning indicate that the pickup rollers and separation pad are worn out. These components are typically included in a maintenance kit and are designed to be replaced at specific page count intervals. Option A, imaging drum and transfer roller, is incorrect because while the imaging drum and transfer roller are replaceable components, they affect image quality, not paper feeding, and wouldn't typically be the cause of paper jams from the tray. Option C, all toner cartridges, is incorrect because toner cartridges affect print quality and color, not paper feeding mechanisms. Option D, fuser assembly only, is incorrect because while the fuser is part of a maintenance kit, it affects how toner adheres to the paper and wouldn't be the primary cause of paper feed issues from the tray. (38) A technician needs to store several spare laser printer toner cartridges for future use. Which of the following is the best storage method? A. Store them near a window where they can be easily seen when needed. B. Remove them from their packaging to save space. C. Keep them in their original sealed packaging in a cool, dry place. D. Store them vertically with the drum facing downward. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Keep them in their original sealed packaging in a cool, dry place. Explanation. Option C is correct because toner cartridges should be kept in their original sealed packaging to protect them from light, dust, and humidity. Storing them in a cool, dry place prevents toner from clumping and protects the sensitive drum surface if it's exposed. Option A, store them near a window where they can be easily seen when needed, is incorrect because direct sunlight and heat from a window can damage toner cartridges by causing the toner powder to clump or the drum to deteriorate. Option B, remove them from their packaging to save space, is incorrect because removing cartridges from their protective packaging exposes them to dust, light, and potential physical damage. Option D, store them vertically with the drum facing downward, is incorrect because many toner cartridges should be stored flat rather than vertically, and the orientation depends on the specific cartridge design. The manufacturer's packaging is designed for proper orientation. 39. A company is considering moving from purchasing physical servers to a cloud-based solution. The financial department wants to understand how costs will be calculated in the new model. Which cloud characteristic should the IT manager highlight in their explanation? A. High availability. B. Shared resources. C. Metered utilization. D. File synchronization. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Metered utilization. Explanation. Option C is correct because metered utilization is the cloud characteristic that explains how costs are calculated based on actual usage, similar to a utility bill. This addresses the financial department's question about the cost model by explaining that they'll pay only for the computing resources they actually consume. Option A, high availability, is incorrect, because while high availability is a benefit of cloud computing, it doesn't explain how costs are calculated. Option B, shared resources, is incorrect because shared resources explains how cloud providers achieve economies of scale, but doesn't directly address how the company's specific costs will be calculated. Option D, file synchronization, is incorrect because file synchronization is a feature that keeps files consistent across devices, but has no direct relationship to how cloud services are billed. 40. A company allows employees to work from home using their personal devices, but wants to ensure company data remains secure and centrally managed. The IT department wants a solution that provides a consistent work environment regardless of the device being used. Which solution should they implement? A. File synchronization service. B. Cloud-based VDI. C. Private cloud. D. Community cloud. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Cloud-based VDI. Explanation. Option B is correct because cloud-based virtual desktop infrastructure, VDI, allows employees to access a consistent company desktop environment from any device while keeping all data and applications in the secure cloud environment rather than on personal devices. This is ideal for BYOD, bring your own device, and remote work scenarios. Option A, file synchronization service, is incorrect because while file synchronization would allow access to files, it doesn't provide the complete, consistent work environment with applications that VDI offers. Option C, private cloud IaaS, is incorrect because IaaS provides infrastructure components, but doesn't specifically address the need for a consistent desktop environment across different personal devices. Option D, community cloud, is incorrect because a community cloud refers to a deployment model shared among multiple organizations, not a specific solution for providing consistent work environments on personal devices. 41. A company needs to run multiple instances of a specific application, but the application has known conflicts when multiple copies are installed on the same operating system. Which virtualization approach would best address this issue? A. Full OS virtualization with a separate VM for each application instance. B. Application virtualization. Own C. Dual boot configuration. Or D. Cloud-based virtual desktop infrastructure. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Application virtualization. Explanation. Option B is correct because application virtualization specifically addresses the problem of application conflicts by packaging each application with its own virtual environment, allowing multiple instances or versions of the same application to run side by side without interference, while using fewer resources than full OS virtualization. Option A, full OS virtualization with a separate VM for each application instance, is incorrect because while full OS virtualization would solve the conflict issue, it's resource-intensive to run a complete VM for each application instance when only the application environment needs to be isolated. Option C, dual boot configuration, is incorrect because dual booting would only allow one operating system to run at a time, meaning only one instance of the application could be used without rebooting, which doesn't solve the need to run multiple instances simultaneously. Option D, cloud-based virtual desktop infrastructure, is incorrect because cloud-based VDI would move the problem to remote servers rather than solving the application conflict issue directly, and it introduces complexity and potential connectivity requirements that aren't necessary to solve this specific problem. 42. A technician needs to create multiple identical virtual machines for a training lab. After setting up the first VM with all required software, what is the most efficient way to create the remaining VMs? A. Create a template from the first VM and deploy new VMs from it. B. Export the VM and import it multiple times. C. Create new VMs and manually install the same software on each. D. Take a snapshot of the first VM and create multiple branches. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. A. Create a template from the first VM and deploy new VMs from it. Explanation. Option A is correct because creating a template, or master image, from the properly configured first VM allows for quick, consistent deployment of multiple identical VMs without repeating the entire setup process. This is specifically designed for efficiently creating multiple similar VMs. Option B, export the VM and import it multiple times, is incorrect because while exporting and importing VMs would work, it's typically more time-consuming than using a template in some system and might require additional configuration steps for each imported copy. Option C, create new VMs and manually install the same software on each, is incorrect because manually reinstalling all software on each VM would be extremely time-consuming and could lead to inconsistencies between machines. Option D, take a snapshot of the first VM and create multiple branches, is incorrect because snapshots are designed for point-in-time recovery of a single VM, not for creating multiple separate VMs. Snapshots would create a complex branching structure within a single VM rather than multiple independent VMs. 43. A technician has successfully resolved a recurring network issue at a client site. Which of the following is the most important action to take before considering the job complete? A. Bill the client for time spent. B. Document the solution in the company knowledge base. C. Clean up any tools or parts from the work area. D. Tell the client the problem is fixed. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Document the solution in the company knowledge base. Explanation. Option B is correct because documentation is a critical part of Step 6. Verify full system functionality and implement preventive measures. Properly documenting the solution in the knowledge base helps other technicians who might encounter similar issues in the future and builds institutional knowledge. Option A, bill the client for time spent, is incorrect because while billing is important from a business perspective, it's not part of the technical troubleshooting methodology. Option C, clean up any tools or parts from the work area, is incorrect because while cleaning up is professional, it's not specifically part of the troubleshooting methodology and isn't the most important action from a technical perspective. Option D, tell the client the problem is fixed, is incorrect because while informing the client is important, simply telling them the problem is fixed without documentation doesn't complete the troubleshooting process properly. The solution should be documented first. 44. A technician receives a ticket about a malfunctioning scanner. While troubleshooting, the technician discovers that several users are experiencing similar issues with different scanners. What should the technician do next in the troubleshooting process? A. Close the current ticket and open a new, broader ticket. B. Revise the theory of probable cause to include network or driver issues. C. Replace all the scanners with new models. D. Implement a solution for just the original user's scanner. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Revise the theory of probable cause to include network or driver issues. Explanation. Option B is correct because discovering that multiple users are affected by similar issues provides new information that should lead to revising the theory of probable cause. Instead of focusing on a single scanner's hardware, the technician should consider broader issues that could affect multiple scanners, such as network problems, driver updates, or software changes. Option A, close the current ticket and open a new, broader ticket, is incorrect because administrative ticket management is not part of the technical troubleshooting methodology. The issue should be resolved, not just redocumented. Option C, replace all the scanners with new models, is incorrect because replacing all scanners without identifying the root cause would be wasteful and might not solve the problem if it's related to software, network, or configuration issues. Option D, implement a solution for just the original user's scanner, is incorrect because addressing only the original scanner ignores the pattern identified, multiple users affected, which suggests a broader issue that requires a more comprehensive approach. (45) A technician is troubleshooting a computer that won't power on at all. No fans, no lights, and no response when the power button is pressed. Which of the following should the technician check first? A. Clear CMO settings. B. Verify the wall outlet has power. C. Replace the RAM modules. D. Update the BIOS. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Verify the wall outlet has power. Explanation. Option B is correct because when a system shows absolutely no signs of power, the troubleshooting process should start with the most basic element in the power chain, confirming that electricity is actually reaching the computer. Verifying the wall outlet works with another device is the logical first step. Option A, clear CMOS settings, is incorrect because clearing CMR settings requires some system power to access the jumpers or battery, and wouldn't address a complete lack of power. Option C, replace the RAM modules, is incorrect because RAM issues would not prevent a system from showing signs of power like fans spinning or lights turning on. Option D, update the BIOS, is incorrect because updating the BIOS requires the system to power on, which isn't happening in this scenario. (46) A user reports their computer suddenly powers off after running for approximately 10 minutes, regardless of what applications are being used. After restarting, the system runs for about the same amount of time before shutting off again. What is the most likely cause? A. Power supply failure. B. Operating system corruption. C. Overheating issues. D. RAM timing conflicts. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Overheating issues. Explanation. Option C is correct because sudden shutdowns after a consistent time period, regardless of system load, is typical of overheating issues. The system runs until it reaches a critical temperature threshold, then shuts down to protect components from damage. After cooling down, it can run again until it reaches the same temperature. Option A, power supply failure, is incorrect because while power supply failures can cause shutdowns, they typically occur under load, or inconsistently, not after a predictable time period regardless of usage. Option B, operating system corruption, is incorrect because OS corruption would typically cause blue screens, error messages, or boot failures, rather than clean shutdowns at regular intervals. Option D, RAM timing conflicts, is incorrect because RAM timing conflicts would cause system instability, crashes, or blue screens, rather than consistent shutdowns after a specific time period. 47. While replacing a failed drive in a RAID 5 array, a technician notices that the rebuild process is extremely slow and occasionally pauses. What is the most likely cause of this issue? A. The replacement drive is from a different manufacturer. B. The RAID controller battery is failing. C. Other drives in the array have developing bad sectors. D. The array needs to be upgraded to RAID 6. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Other drives in the array have developing bad sectors. Explanation. Option C is correct because slow or pausing RAID rebuilds often indicate that other drives in the array are developing problems. During the rebuild process, all remaining drives must be read completely, and any read errors or developing bad sectors will cause delays or pauses as the system tries to recover data. This is a warning sign that other drives may be close to failure as well. Option A, the replacement drive is from a different manufacturer, is incorrect because while using drives from different manufacturers isn't ideal, it shouldn't cause significant slowdowns during rebuild unless there's an incompatibility issue. Option B, the RAID controller battery is failing, is incorrect because while a failing RAID controller battery might cause issues with caching, it typically wouldn't cause a slow rebuild process with pauses. Option D, the array needs to be upgraded to RAID 6, is incorrect because while RAID 6 provides better redundancy, upgrading RAID levels isn't related to the current rebuild performance issue. 48. A user complains that their new SSD, which initially performed very well, has become noticeably slower over the past few months. The drive is 95% full. What is the most likely cause of the performance degradation? A. The SSD's trim command is not functioning. B. The SSD has too little free space for optimal performance. C. The SSD needs defragmentation. D. The SSD's firmware is outdated. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. The SSD has too little free space for optimal performance. Explanation. Option B is correct because SSDs require a certain amount of free space, typically 10 to 20%, for optimal performance. When an SSD is very full, 95% in this case, it has limited space for wear leveling, garbage collection, and over-provisioning functions, which significantly reduces performance. The first recommendation would be to free up space on the drive. Option A, the SSD's trim command is not functioning, is incorrect, because while trim is important for SSD performance, the primary issue here is clearly the lack of free space. Option C, the SSD needs defragmentation, is incorrect because defragmentation is unnecessary and potentially harmful for SSDs. Unlike HDDs, SSDs have no moving parts and don't benefit from defragmentation. Option D, the SSD's firmware is outdated, is incorrect because while firmware updates can improve performance, the dramatic change after filling the drive strongly suggests that lack of free space is the primary issue. 49. A user has connected a second monitor to their computer and wants to extend their desktop across both displays, but both monitors are showing the same content, mirrored. The user is using Windows 10. What should the technician recommend? A. Update the graphics drivers. B. Press Windows plus P and select. Extend. C. Use a different video cable. D. Change the resolution on both monitors. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Press Windows plus P and select Extend. Explanation. Option B is correct because Windows plus P opens the display projection menu that allows users to quickly switch between display modes, including duplicate, mirrored, and extended desktop. This is the simplest and most direct solution to change from mirrored displays to an extended desktop. Option A, update the graphics drivers, is incorrect because while driver updates can solve many display issues, they wouldn't typically address a simple display mode configuration that's already set to mirrored mode. Option C, use a different video cable, is incorrect because the cable type wouldn't affect whether displays are mirrored or extended, as this is a software setting. Option D, change the resolution on both monitors, is incorrect because changing resolution would affect image quality, but not the display mode, mirrored versus extended. After setting up dual monitors, a user notices that when moving the mouse between screens, the cursor jumps from the left side of one monitor to the right side of the other, which doesn't match their physical arrangement. What should the technician adjust? A. The screen resolution of both monitors. B. The refresh ITCherts rate settings. C. The display scaling options. D. The display arrangement in display settings. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. D. The display arrangement in display settings. Explanation. Option D is correct because the issue describes a mismatch between the physical arrangement of monitors and their virtual arrangement in the operating system. In display settings, the technician needs to drag the monitor icons to match their physical layout on the desk. Option A, the screen resolution of both monitors, is incorrect because resolution settings would affect image quality, not the directional movement of the mouse between displays. Option B, the refresh rate settings, is incorrect because refresh rate affects how often the screen updates and would not impact cursor movement between displays. Option C, the display scaling options, is incorrect because scaling affects the size of elements on screen, but not how the cursor moves between multiple displays. You have reached the end of our question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at MyITCerts.com, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. You can study completely free using our study materials and questions, and ace your exams with confidence. Thank you for studying with us today. See you in the next video.